For years, the world has been told that the conflict with Iran is under control. Diplomacy is working, sanctions are working, the situation is stable. But if you look closer, the war with Iran may have never actually ended because while the headlines move on, cyber attacks still happen. Military bases still surround the region. Proxy conflicts still erupt across the Middle East. And intelligence agencies continue operating inside Iran. So we're going to examine three things. So first, the official story of the Iran conflict. Second, the hidden shadow war that may still be happening today. And third, a theory that sounds unbelievable at first, but becomes strangely interesting when you start looking at ancient geography. A theory that the region around Iran may be connected to the original location of the Garden of Eden. And if that sounds insane, just wait. Because by the end of this episode, we're going to ask a simple question. When the media says the Iran war is over, is it really? Or is it just what they want us to believe? So let's get into what the Iran conflict is really about. To understand the conspiracies surrounding Iran, we need to understand the official geopolitical story. Iran sits in one of the most strategically important regions on Earth. It borders Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Turkey, and the Persian Gulf, which means controlling Iran or even influencing Iran affects nearly the entire Middle East. But the modern conflict really begins in the 20th century. When massive oil reserves were discovered in the region, suddenly Iran became one of the most valuable energy territories on Earth. In 1953, the CIA and British intelligence carried out a covert operation known as Operation Ajax. The mission removed Iran's elected leader and reinstated the Shah. For decades, the Shah ruled Iran with strong support from Western governments until the Iranian Revolution in 1979. The revolution completely reshaped the Middle East. Iran transformed into an Islamic republic, and relations with the United States collapsed almost overnight. Since then, the tension has never truly disappeared. Sanctions, military threats, proxy wars, and the constant debate over Iran's nuclear program. Officially, that's why the conflict exists: security, regional power, and nuclear weapon concerns. But conspiracy theorists believe that explanation may only be the surface layer. So we're going to go a little bit into the shadow war with Iran. So even when headlines claim the Iran conflict is cooling down, strange events continue happening. Iranian nuclear facilities mysteriously explode. Military scientists are unalived. Cyber attacks cripple infrastructure. One of the most famous examples was a cyber weapon called Stuxnet. It was designed specifically to sabotage Iranian nuclear centrifuges. This wasn't traditional warfare. It was silent warfare, invisible warfare, and it revealed something important. Modern wars don't always look like wars anymore. They happen through cyber attacks, covert intelligence missions, proxy militias, and economic warfare, which raises an obvious question. If the conflict with Iran is supposedly under control, why does the shadow war keep happening? And why does Iran matter so much? From a strategic perspective, Iran controls an incredibly important piece of geography. It sits beside the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most important oil shipping routes in the world. Roughly 20% of global oil trade passes through this narrow channel. Any distribution there would send shockwaves through the global economy. But geopolitics might not be the only reason the region matters, because Iran sits directly beside the area historians call the cradle of civilization, ancient Mesopotamia, the birthplace of some of the earliest cities on Earth. And this is where the story starts to take a strange turn, because according to ancient religious texts, This region may also be connected to something else, the Garden of Eden. Now, let's talk about the theory of the location of Garden of Eden. The book of Genesis describes Eden as a place where the four rivers met. Those rivers were named Pishon, Gihon, Tigris, and Euphrates. Two of those rivers still exist today, the Tigris and the Euphrates, and they run directly through modern Iraq. But here's the interesting part. The headwaters of those rivers originate near eastern Turkey and western Iran, which means the geographic region described in Genesis overlaps with territory very close to Iran. Some researchers believe the missing rivers, Pishon and Gihon, may have disappeared thousands of years ago due to climate changes or terraforming. Satellite imagery has revealed ancient dried river systems across parts of the Middle East and Iran, which means the geography described in Genesis might have looked very different in ancient times. And that leads to a fascinating possibility. What if the region around Iran was once the landscape described in one of the oldest stories humanity ever recorded? My theory, now this is where my own personal theory comes in, because when you step back and look at history, the Middle East has been fought over thousands of years. Empires rise and they fall. But the same land keeps becoming the center of conflict. What if the reason nations are so obsessed with controlling parts of this region isn't just oil? What if it's something older, something buried beneath the ground, something connected to the earliest chapters of human history? If the Garden of Eden was a real place, and if it existed somewhere near modern day Iran, then that land would represent the symbolic birthplace of humanity itself. Imagine the archaeological discoveries that might be hidden there. Artifacts, lost civilizations, ancient knowledge, discoveries that could reshape history as we know it. Again, this is just speculation, but it's the kind of speculation that keeps researchers asking questions. Then there's patterns of hidden wars. One thing history teaches us is that wars rarely end cleanly anymore. They evolve, they go underground, and they become invisible to the public. Instead of tanks and battlefields, we see cyber warfare, economic warfare, proxy conflicts, and intelligence operations, which makes the situation with Iran difficult to interpret. Because on the surface, the war appears contained, but beneath the surface, the tension never truly disappears. So maybe the real story isn't whether there was a war involving Iran, because we're in one now, and it seems like we keep circling back. So maybe the real question is whether the war ever really ended at all to begin again. It was always ongoing. And if Iran really does sit on land tied to the earliest stories of human civilization, then the fight for that region may be far older than modern politics. Because when the news stops talking about a war, that doesn't always mean the war is over. Sometimes it just means the war has moved somewhere else, somewhere quieter, somewhere hidden. And that leaves us with one final question. When the media tells us the Iran war is over, is it really? Or is that just what they want us to think? Until next time, guys, I really am going to start my ancient civilizations stuff next. I wanted to jump on this immediately, just to kind of throw my ideas out there. It's been circulating with me, and I had to get it out here. But also, we're trying to get to these 500 subs. I'm trying to get monetized so I can start making things like this for you guys. The official Don't Drink That hoodie. And I'm excited to make merch for you guys. So let's get that 500 subs. Let's get these watch hours in, guys, because I really want to start giving you guys quality merch. So don't drink that. I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.